Hey, my name's Brian Miller. I'm a former professional magician turned author, speaker, consultant, and as part of that work, I'm actually a content creator, as you might imagine. I have 2 YouTube channels and I run a podcast. But before this whole crazy career of mine, I actually went to school for audio engineering, and I'm kind of a lifelong audio nerd. So in this series of videos, I teamed up with the folks over at Movo to help you get the most out of your VXR10 microphone. So over the next few videos, we're gonna take a look at a handful of popular content creation scenarios you might find yourself in. We'll look at run and gun vlogging, both with a camera and with a smartphone, talking headshots like the one you're watching right now for YouTube or documentary filmmaking, and also how to boom a microphone for traditional filmmaking. We'll look at a live stream setup for a phone, tablet, or computer, and finally podcasting plus narration or voiceover work, both for solo efforts and a very clever hack for doing a 2-person podcast with 2 VXR10s, but going into a single microphone input. Just a quick note, all of the audio in this course, unless otherwise noted, is coming from the Movo VXR10 raw and unprocessed, apart from leveling to normal listening volumes. So let's take a look at what comes in the box and get a basic understanding of what type of microphone the Movo VXR10 is. So this is what you're looking at when the VXR10 shows up in the mail. Inside you'll find the microphone with a handful of accessories we'll talk about in just a moment, plus a handy dandy quick start guide. The first thing you'll probably take out is the microphone itself, which also has on it a furry windscreen, also known as a dead cat. You'll notice an 1/8 inch jack right there on the back of the microphone for plugging into a camera, smartphone, or computer. The next thing you might take out is the shock mount. This is for mounting the microphone on top of a camera or a smartphone rig to eliminate all the extra rumble and any other handling noise from actually getting into the microphone. You'll find 2 different cables that may look identical, but in fact are not. This is a TRS cable, which stands for tip ring sleeve. This other cable is known as a TRRS, tip ring sleeve. Movo has actually labeled this one with a little label that says microphone on this end and a little label that says smartphone on the other end. The same cable will not work for plugging a microphone into a camera as it does to a smartphone or tablet or computer. In general, if you're using an 1/8 inch input that doubles as a headphone jack, like you find on smartphones, tablets, computers, you do need a TRRS connection. Movo has included both of them, which is super useful, but you need to make sure you're using the right one for the right device. And finally, they've included this really nice fake leather bag with a drawstring to keep your microphone safe and protected. Reading the specifications right off the back of the box, this is a cardioid microphone. Now, cardioid describes the polar pattern. Polar pattern describes how a microphone picks up sound, where it picks up sound from. And a cardioid is typically the best type of polar pattern for spoken word, especially indoors. It works great outdoors as well, but it's especially useful indoors. And the reason is this. Cardioid picks up from the front of the microphone and a little bit off to the sides, but it completely rejects everything that's 180 degrees off axis. So if you're speaking into this end, whatever's perfectly behind it will be almost completely quiet. And that is fantastic for the typical content creator who usually is not in a perfect treated room with no noise and no echo. No, typically we are in situations, we're in spare bedrooms, we're in home offices, we're running and gunning, we're on the go, we're in airports, we're in public places. There's a lot of extra noise. So if you're in your house and you've got a fan or an air conditioner, what you want to do is make sure that you're talking into the microphone and it's facing the opposite way. If you're the air conditioner, I want to be talking like this. The off-axis rejection on cardioid microphones is really good. And you might be wondering, wait, didn't he say it picks up from the front and to the sides? Like, that's not good for rejection. Well, it does pick up a little bit to the sides, but that really serves the content creator well because it means that you don't need to worry about it being hyper-directional. You don't need to worry that the microphone is always pointed directly at your mouth. hyper-directional microphones, if you're even a little bit off, if it's even pointed 1 inch to the left or right or up or down from your mouth, from the source that you're going for, it completely, like you lose all of the power and volume of the microphone. So the fact that this picks up from slightly from the sides as well is really good news for us, because what that means is we can run around and we can set up, and we don't have to be too specific, too particular, and I can be talking this way and I can be talking that way and I can reach for something, I can come back, and the microphone is still going to pick me up without losing a ton of power or a ton of volume. Now the VXR10 also comes with a really wide frequency response. Frequency describes the low to high. Low frequencies are down here, high frequencies are up here. And the human ear typically hears between 20 hertz and 20 kilohertz, so 20 hertz and 20,000 hertz. And most microphones capture a range that falls somewhere within that. This particular microphone captures all the way from 35 hertz to 18 kilohertz, or 35 hertz to 18,000 hertz. And that's a really, really good range for such a small, compact microphone. The fact that it records all the way down, that it captures down to 35 hertz, means it will capture the deep bassiness of a voice, or if you're trying to capture a certain sound like a bass guitar or some music, or if you're trying to capture the sound of, I don't know, an engine or a motorcycle, like that low end, that beefy power. This microphone will capture that, where not all microphones will, especially in this small of a package. And the fact that it goes all the way up to 18 kilohertz is excellent, because that means your voice will be crisp as well as warm. And that is one of the best things about this mic. And of course, this is not battery powered. This doesn't have a battery in it at all. There's no on-off switch on this thing. It takes power from the source. So if you're using a smartphone, if you're using a camera, if you're using a portable audio recorder, you just need to have your mic power on, if that's even an option. Cameras don't even usually have that. It's just on all the time. If you have a portable audio recorder, you might have to turn mic power on in order to make sure this works, but it is super convenient because there's no battery, there's no recharging, there's no on-off switch, nothing to worry about. You plug it in, you forget about it, always good to go. Okay, so that is a basic overview of the Movo VXR10 and what comes with the package. In the next few videos, we'll talk you through how to set up the microphone and optimize it for a variety of content creation settings. Stay tuned.